Welcome to the big show, particularly our fellow Americans. Your bod doesn't look a day over 249. On our special look back show, the best and worst of marketing and advertising so far in 2026. Brands will definitely be discussing Formula One, Jaguar, my car, Australia, Disney, Nike, and so many more. We'll also answer the question, what has changed the most in our beloved and sometimes bedazzled industry in these first 6 months of 2026? We'll check in on our $1 trillion over-under for global ad and marketing spend this year, a list of CMOs that didn't make it so far in 2026, and finally, we'll finish the show with some predictions for the rest of the year. If you work in advertising or marketing and slept through the first half of the year, don't sleep on this. We are here so you don't miss a doggone thing. Let's roll that intro. Welcome to the big marketing show. I'm Matthew Newell, but more importantly,
I'm Chris Stone, and this is the show where normally we just go 10 minutes, but we've got so much in this jam-packed episode. We're going to tell you the best and worst of the year so far. Matthew, I can't wait to get into it. Are you ready?
I am. This is going to be a different episode for us. And this is a challenge, an invitation and a challenge to our listeners. If we miss anything best and worst of 2026 so far, put it in the comments. But we think we've done our due diligence. Our first best of, Chris, comes from our friends down under. I love this story. You found this for us on Real Recognize Real. Most Australians know to wear sunscreen at the beach. They're Australian. That's what they do. But what happened is people don't know that those UVA rays can penetrate car windows.
That's right.
So an ad agency, TBWA, which stands for Tiny Botanical Warsaw Arms,
Who knew?
They reupholstered a car's interior with specially engineered synthetic material that looked like human skin and visibly sunburned when exposed to UV light. You can look up the rest of the story, but it was such a great idea. And so far, and Chris, we didn't talk about the sun. I think the campaign was called the Sunburnt Car. Yes. It won at we covered Cannes Lion.
Yeah.
It won an award for, let's see, a gold lion in indoor and a silver lion in industry craft.
I'd like to think we had a part in that.
I think so. I think
for covering it on the show, of course.
I had to vote in absentia, but they did get my vote. Yeah.
Yeah, gazoon tight.
So Chris, like what originally jumped out at you about this?
Well, I think when you think marketing, you think brands, and you think the Coca-Colas and the Nikes, and they all make great stuff. But, when it comes down to like awareness, people that get incredibly creative like this is really where my attention goes. And I just thought it was just an incredible way. It was a tire company that did this. And so it's like, man, I take my money, right? I just think that is, for me, I look at something like that and I was like, that is somebody who is really just thinking, I know it's a cliche, thinking outside of the box, thinking outside of the car. Can we say that? Probably even more cheesy. But, they took these stickers that so you go and you get your tires or whatever, and they get you these stickers, and you put the sticker right there on your car as the sun comes through the window, and you can see, hey, these are UV rays that might be damaging to your skin. And I think that is just, as a part of this whole thing, and the synthetic skin and all of that. It just is just a fantastic campaign. It really got my attention.
Absolutely. Two things to add to that. If you've watched more than 10 minutes of any local news segment in the last 20 years, in the springtime or in the summertime, especially if you're in the South, it's not unusual for one of the local news reporters to do the whole, you put the temperature gauge in the car and you roll up the windows and you show how quickly it heats up to this is like the new interesting version of basically what we've been doing. Like with Americans, it's don't leave your kid in the car, don't leave your pet in the car. And apparently Australians, they don't leave them in there, but they do leave their exposed skin in it. But the second thing that I was going to mention is anytime you're in marketing, 90% of your day, 95% of your day in marketing is either doing dumb admin stuff or working with your immediate team. Anytime you're working on a campaign when you're literally bringing in like an engineer or a historian or just some skill set that is just completely random, you're doing something right because like in this case,
great point.
We need to figure out how to make car seats sunburn.
Right.
You have to bring in an engineer for that.
Yes. Exactly.
And I absolutely love it. And it is if you worked on that campaign, kudos to you. And hopefully we'll be talking about that one for a while. And maybe you literally might have saved a life or two.
Yeah.
I know.
Love it.
Yeah. I don't like to think about marketing in terms of life or death situations, but yeah.
Well, here's another life or death situation that made one of the top marketing campaigns of the year. It happened at the top of the year, believe it or not, right at the top, first week of the year. You can't buy this kind of media. Matthew, you found this one. Believe me, I've tried to buy this kind of media, and the invoice was absolutely obscene. The company is Origin USA, I believe, based out of Maine. And right at the top of the year, the most bizarre celebrity endorsement in advertising history. That's right, Nicolas Maduro. Yes, that Maduro. Captured by U.S. authorities wearing an Origin blue hoodie. The color is actually Patriot blue. No. Yeah, and so Maduro, no influencer deal for Nicolas Maduro, no focus group in a windowless room saying, "What if a dictator wore it?" The photos hit every feed on the planet, millions of impressions, zero ad spend. But Matthew, you shone a light on this. The smart part was the founder, Pete Roberts, didn't panic. He didn't scrub their Instagram. He didn't issue some lawyer-approved non-statement.
Yes.
They leaned in, kept talking about what they actually make, American manufacturing, no excuses. And the result, that hoodie's now their bestseller. Sales spiked, traffic spiked. And the lesson is you can't plan the headline sometimes, but you can decide who you are when it lands. Origin did it, and that is the win. I love this campaign.
I do too. I honestly as much, Chris, as sometimes as I feel like I can be cool as a cucumber and I've seen everything. I do not know what I would have done in this situation. Like if I had been the one getting that phone call from what's the gentleman? Is it Pete? Yeah. From Pete Roberts.
Yep.
If I had been the one getting that phone call, like, here's the situation. Look at, go look at the internet right now. I would have been like, good luck. Like the dictator's getting arrested for being a dictator, and like it seems to be such a brand conflict, but yeah, he rolled with it so smoothly. Huge.
And I just realized I call it a campaign. You can't really. I feel like I'm doing it an injustice by calling it a campaign. It was more like just a response, and I think there is marketing involved there. He just fired up his a video in his I don't know where he was, in his office or his house or something, and he just talked into the camera. And I think sometimes that is the best response, the most honest response, and really just sort of translated into that brand in and of itself. And the fact that it's Patriot Blue, I was like, Of course it's Patriot Blue.
It's so good. It's so good. And it reminds people that when push comes to shove, anyone can stand up a brand that looks feasible, even attractive from the outside. But it's when you start putting stresses on it that it's the cliche, this so authentic. It's authentic if you can get a picture of a dictator wearing your brand and you still come out good on the other side. Like, that's authenticity, and that's why it has to be authentic, because if it had been anything less than that, Pete wouldn't have been able to just look into that camera and say, hey, here's the deal. I still want you to buy my hoodie.
Good stuff.
Well, before we move on to the worst, put, if we'll mention a few other brands, but if you think that we missed someone for the best of in the first part of 2026, put it in the comments.
Yes,
we have to throw someone under the bus for the worst of 2026. I'm gonna throw a whole category under the bus: kids drinks that have a new version with alcohol. I am not a teetotaler. I do not live in a monastery. I live in the real world, but This is ridiculous. So brands like Sunny D and Welch's, who are literally kids brands, have launched alcoholic versions of drinks that generations of consumers grew up associating with lunch boxes and after school snacks. My concern is that you're leveraging, decades of this, the brands live in their heads, and these are literally less developed heads. That's why there's restrictions around how you can advertise to these kids. And then once they're 21, let's just pour alcohol. It's too much. It's too much to ask a kid to take the orange juice and mix it with the vodka. Let's make some dollars off of pouring vodka and orange juice, or pick your poison together. And well, anyway, I want to hear you're a parent as well. This one threw my parent red flag big time.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the nose when you talked about Sunny D being a kid's brand. You don't see adults walking around with jugs of Sunny D, right? And Welch's is, I mean, maybe you're making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich,
right,
and you're 21 and over, I guess. But yes, I mean, when you are a brand like that, I think it's time, maybe instead of trying to use that brand that was associated with kids, maybe make another brand. I mean, it's not like you can't, call it something else and brand it somewhere else, and have a little side business for your alcohol, type of deal. But to actually take something and make it and pretend like it wasn't a kid's brand, and now all of a sudden you're just introducing vodka into it, just feels just ick. There's no really other way for me to put it. And let's just listen. You and I had drinks, sometimes when we were before 21 years old, but when we make it easy like that it just is. I don't know. That's a line I agree with you is too blurry.
I remember a couple of years ago, Mountain Dew put out a hard version of Mountain Dew. And that's from my perspective, one of the great brands of all time. And I'm going to write a very stern letter to the editor on this one. And I actually cooled my jets, because I thought it through, and I was like, okay, yes, Mountain Dew is directed towards kids, but it's a human drink. It's not a kid's exclusive drink.
Right.
So I chilled out, but Sunny D, that is just a step too, you just can't. And here's another thing that I thought of since we highlighted this on our show. One of the leading indicators, this is true, one of the leading indicators of future alcoholism is the age at which you had your first drink.
Oh,
isn't that nuts? So even if you have one drink, one alcoholic drink, I should say, at the age of 14 or 15, you're setting yourself up for.
Yeah, it feels to me like it's just a matter of time before we have Capri Sun with vodka in it, pouches, right? Or what's the other one? Juicy Juice, is that another one? Shout out to Juicy Juice. Yeah. Let's not make a purple drank version of Juicy Juice, and let's not make vodka pouches Capri Sun. It's just like
Kool-Aid is waiting to enter the chat.
Oh yeah, the Kool-Aid guy comes busting through there, and he's like wasted.
He can't get through the wall. He's so drunk.
Oh yeah, takes a nosedive.
That is too good.
So Matthew, thank you for highlighting the awful campaigns of 2026. And we usually highlight the ones that we just think are amazing, but I love that you highlighted that. And speaking of ones that were amazing, there's a few I would say in terms of the best of 2026 should get maybe honorary mentions.
Sure.
I think we should talk about.
Yeah.
One of the ones that I loved was that Dos Equis brought back the most interesting man.
100%.
And that was a super bold move, bringing back a guy where his entire brand was a mystery, and the internet missed him. So nostalgia's undefeated there. I really loved the Disney's floating Mandalorian billboards that they put in Madrid.
And that's another good example of like having to bring in someone from the engineering department.
Yes.
Like marketers are not going to. I need an actual scientist for this one.
Exactly. Yeah, someone's explaining, how super powerful magnets work.
That's right.
In rooms where they're not talking about that stuff. And then we covered this just last episode was Airbnb's "The World Is Meant to Meet." When you think of Airbnb, you think, renting, a place that has a futon, but what they were selling there is real human connection, which I thought was great. And also real money because they were inspiring people for an extra $750 to open as a renter. But Matthew, what are your thoughts there on some honorary mentions for the best of 2026?
So the Dos Equis one. So I had the privilege to be sitting at State Farm when we brought back Jake. And so I know what it's like. I mean, you were sitting on pins and needles the day before because this could be like getting, someone getting a new liver implant. The body can reject it. You like that is a possibility. So we were very lucky in believing this smart people were on it, myself not included, to roll out Jake. And so to know how many nerves it probably was less tricky with the Dos Equis guy because it was the same person. It was still a beloved campaign, and he still lived forever in the kind of in the meme world. But it still wasn't. There was no guarantee. But I want to go back to the Airbnb. I ended up seeing that spot a lot during the World Cup so far, and it really is. I mean, it might be my favorite campaign. Like in terms of like traditional campaign, like TV spots, whatever. Nothing incredibly crazy, just an idea. It's such a beautiful spot, and the examples that they use, the churros and the salsa dancing, and like it's true and it's amazing. I love that campaign.
Yeah, it really tugged at some different strings of the heart for sure. So those were three really good campaigns, and none of them involved a fugitive president at all. But for my money, Origin is still winning in terms of the greatest campaign thus far in 2026. But that Sunburnt Car,
it's so good.
It's so good.
It's so good. Something in me wants to actually sit in the car after it's been sunburned.
Wouldn't it feel weird to drive a car that was like covered with like what felt like it had little hair on it, and it really like when you pushed on it, it did the same thing as skin, like a skin car. I kind of want to drive it.
For whatever reason, in my head, this has nothing to do with the campaign, but the car that they used had like wood paneling in my head. So I'm picturing like this, like I know this like crazy old 70s, couple surfboards on top because it's Australia. Yeah, I would have loved to. But Chris, we've covered campaigns and brands.
Yep.
Let's talk about some of the advances our beloved industry has made in the last 6 months, because things are coming pretty fast and furious. So I jotted down a couple. I'll just throw them out and we can. So the first one is, we were on top of this since this show started, AI becoming marketing infrastructure. We really just talked about it. This is the plumbing, the plumbing phase. We're just getting everything hooked up in the background. Any thoughts on I know everyone's freaking out about AI content creation, but the real work is being done in the background right now.
That's it. I think a lot of, and you see it on the show, folks. We're not, a lot of the stuff you see, there is AI generation that's happening, and it's only going to get better at this point. You look at, we're real. We have all of our digits right now, but it's only going to get better at this point. You could see just the growth of the show. This is episode 40. If you look at episode 1, we were using AI to maybe generate a few things here and there. We always are involved in it in terms of how things are created, approved, making sure things are spelled correctly and represented correctly, and whether it's video or audio. So content creation, I think for sure, like you said, to your point, is only going to get better. But the creative usage of that content is really the key to all of this. It's not just, yes, we're creating all of these great processes and this is the way I create this thumbnail. This is the way how are we inserting ourselves with that time and money that we're saving doing that? Now, how do we get creative on that and use this in a very creative way to deliver the message that we want to? But I think to your point, from a marketing infrastructure standpoint, you absolutely have to lean into it. And yes, that means that people are going to be getting rid of humans that once did these certain things. And so as humans, we have to be creative in what we're doing, right? You have to lean into what agentive AI is doing. You have to lean into these things because they're hiring people who understand how to do these things. And so that's the kind of the scary shifting sand that's happening, and we're seeing that you've covered a lot on this show, is how humans' jobs are affected in all of this.
Well, and that brings us to the next thing that I'd written down, which is SEO, search engine optimization, is slowly transformed. I don't think that'll ever go away because there'll always be the internet, but it's slowly expanding into GEO, generative engine optimization, which in other words, if I go to Google, what page am I going to come up on when I search for my company, my name, my whatever? And now it's, am I going to even be mentioned? Does ChatGPT or Claude or whomever even know our product or our brand? And it's a whole new discipline under marketing. And if you're coming into the marketing fold right now, if you just graduated last month, this is GEO is a wide open opportunity for your first gig.
And still, for the most part, widely unknown and changing dramatically, just like a lot of AI influences. I think what's I talked about earlier about how things are only going to get better. A lot of times I would say maybe even a year ago, we would, quote unquote, Google something. And of course, you're going to see the Gemini results that are at the top, right? The AI, what they clearly label as AI. Initially, you just really weren't trusting those responses because many of them were incorrect. And they were being called out as incorrect. And you're seeing less and less of that now. So people are just, they'll say, I chat GPT'd it as opposed to they Googled it. Most people don't understand differences of these kinds of things. We need to understand those differences in order to, as marketers that are responsible for particular brands, to make sure that our brand is not only just top of results without sponsors, without sponsored results, I should say, but also that we're making sure everything's accurate where it needs to be represented.
Yep, absolutely. The next thing that I jotted down for a big change, I did not see this coming. So not only is the total ad spend of the advertising and marketing world increasing, we'll talk about the $1 trillion here in a second. The majority of that expansion is coming from retail media. So like when Amazon first said, hey, we're going to start, this is probably 5-10 years ago, we're going to start taking digital ads on our platform. I thought, okay, great. They've got like a nice little 4 or 5% side business of advertising. Amazon, Walmart, Target, Instacart, Kroger, it is exploding. They are treating themselves like they're doing what X should have been doing for like the last 4 or 5 years. They are legitimate advertising partners, and what's unique about them is it's they in theory are the last brand that a lot of people are going to see before they make that last purchase of the 12-pack of Coke from Walmart, or the new swimsuit from Target, or whatever it is.
Sunny D vodka, right?
That's right. I don't order from online. I have my 12-year-old go get that. Just
go get the alcoholic Capri Sun from.
Give him $20 and tell him to figure it out. One other thing that I wanted to say before you can take it to the next to the next recap. I didn't have this jotted down because I didn't want to have a trail behind me, but this is also the first year, Chris, that someone had the veracity to send me a cease and desist order. Like, what is that about? We're here we are dedicating our lives to trying to make our industry better. And again, someone having the veracity, the nerve to send a cease and desist to this innocent, safe, fun show. Chris, you take it from here. I need a second to collect myself.
I told myself I wouldn't do this. Yeah. Hey, listen, once you get a cease and desist, that's a sign that you're moving in the right direction. That's it. Hey, Mom, I made it.
Well, it's also nice because I haven't had to buy toilet paper in the last couple months since I got that in the mail.
Oh, I see. That's gross. All right, Matthew, one other thing that we want to get to as a part of this show, earlier this year, we had the founders of the then baby-faced agency, Artists and Robots. Shout out Heather and Jazz, Jason Allen Snyder, and we took like an over-under on whether or not ad spend globally would break the 1 trillion mark this year. Yes. Is that Dr. Evil would use 2 pinkies on your mouth for trillion? What a perfect time to provide you with a mid-year update. Blow the trumpets, the vuvuzelas, and 2026, ladies and gentlemen, according to the interwebs, is on track.
Woo!
It's on tracks, pop the balloons, the confetti, to be the first year global advertising spending surpasses $1 trillion, depending on what industry forecast you use. It's a milestone that, I don't know, that seemed unimaginable maybe just a couple decades ago, Matthew.
Yes.
Most of these new advertising dollars aren't going to traditional media agencies. They're going to digital platforms, Google, Meta, TikTok, Amazon. and other rapidly growing retail media networks. Matthew, any comments on this? How exciting that we can say trillion, $1 trillion in this market.
It shows that us marketers know what we're doing. You don't keep getting money if it doesn't work. So $1 trillion, we should be proud of ourselves. To think that I think I saw over the weekend that roughly 75% of that is digital. And
wow.
Back in the day when digital was first blossoming, for it to hit 12 or 15% was mind blowing at the time. And it's what I just hope. This is me taking a step back. This is my ask for our, if you have $1 trillion, yes, sell your product, sell your service, get people to check it out and fall in love, etc. But that's so much money. Like, can it be like buy our product and also help these people to feel less about themselves? We're half the reason why everyone's doom scrolling. Is we're the ones who are like, what's the word I'm looking for? We're the ones who are financing that with all of our advertising. So let's do the big thing. Let's do the 80% of what our job is, and then let's try to make things a little bit better, because the marketing, advertising, we do take a little bit of culpability for the crappiness of the digital ecosystem. I'll throw social media in there too. It can definitely get better.
I love that. I love that sentiment. Be better.
Be better.
Don't be sorry. Be better.
That's right. What are you going to do with your $1 trillion, Chris?
You know what I think I'm going to do? I might buy a couple of the electric Ferraris. The loose. I might buy a couple of those.
Perfect transition. Now, this is when our viewers are going to have to close their eyes and picture the moment at the Emmys when they do the year in review, the obituaries. So we'll slow down a little bit. Marketing executives who actually they're not even executives who left their jobs too soon because of their own marketing decisions. We'll start with Ferrari, the loose. Enrico Galliera lost his job because of that rollout. Also, Charlotte Blank, who I also think was either the CEO or the CMO. Jaguar Land Rover lost her job because of that rollout. And we'll save the best for last. Starbucks Korea and Tank Day, which unintentional. Let's just, for Americans, this would be like having a 9/11 celebration party at the base of One Freedom Tower on 9/11. So Song Jong-hyun, we also will miss you for the rest of 2026.
Let's pour out a Pike's Place in honor.
That's right. pour out
Starbucks Korea Tank Day.
A tipsy Sunny D for Starbucks Tank Day. Yeah, it's never been unusual for people to lose their jobs over marketing decisions. In fact, one that got super close, I'm told from an insider perspective, was Cracker Barrel.
Cracker Barrel.
Someone almost lost their job over the Cracker Barrel. I don't know if you remember that new logo.
Oh, yeah.
They just switched it back and went on with life.
Right. Everybody forgot. That's just like everything, 6 minutes later, completely forgotten.
It's exactly right.
And that Tank Day, Starbucks Korea, I mean, I know we talked about the worst of 2026 so far. That's, wow. That's an honorable mention for sure. Like you were talking about the worst being the kids drink brands inserting alcohol. I think that Starbucks Tank Day could absolutely be, honorable mention.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Son Jung-hyun.
That's yeah. Yeah.
Sorry for butchering your name if that was your real name.
All right, Chris, I thought we would jump into one more thing. This has been such a great show. I know that you and I could talk about this for hours. But we'll land the plane. Let's do one prediction for the rest of 2026. I am happy to start. We started the show September of last year. One of the first things that we covered was actually that first Christmas selling period, which for a lot of brands, especially brands of toys and actual physical products, a lot of their sales are between that Thanksgiving. Are back when we used to sell CDs and other physical things. I remember 40% of our sales were tucked between Thanksgiving and Christmas. My prediction is that TikTok is going to have invested all of this year, including right now, to make their shopping cart and sales capabilities best of class, and they're going to do 3 times the amount of sales in holidays 2026 than they did 2025, especially like in the categories that matter for an app like that. So you think about like apparel and beauty and stuff like that. That's my prediction.
Oh, that's solid. That's solid. My prediction will be that AI detection software will be even better. And so a lot of these brands, a lot of these companies who are using too much AI to write content and too much of these, and we're seeing it already. We're seeing AI, especially video creation. All of this stuff is getting so good that it all is almost deep fake good. If that makes, I don't think that's ever been combined, those words, in a sentence ever. But I believe that AI detection will get so good, it will get bought up by major companies, and so it will be one of those things where you'll be able to see something and know whether or not it is. Therefore, people are going to maybe be distrusting these companies a lot more. Yep. And therefore we're going to have to get better at creating more content that has less of the enhancements that artificial intelligence has. So those of you who may have lost their jobs because of their real film people, or their real audio people, their real voiceover, all of that kind of stuff, we're going to find the real value, I think, here, Matthew, of what people really trust as far as what they're seeing and hearing.
It is such. I love that, but it's going to be so strange that, let's call it 2 years ago, AI was just a glint in engineer's eye, and we're moving into a world where not only is AI taking over, we've got a whole other layer coming in to help us work out whether or not it's AI.
It's crazy. I watched a video of a teacher's assistant looking at papers, and they have them submit their papers with Google. And so Google has software that overlaps with those papers that will be able to detect how the content was written. And it will mimic the typing. So you can detect whether or not that person just copy and pasted from Claude or ChatGPT or whatever. And so there's all kinds of detection software. So, AI policing itself, and people need to be heavily involved in that in order to make sure that's, that people know, right? I think there's a lot of stuff out there that people are, that's fake or and it might not be. Right. And so I think it's important that people know whether or not something is, even heavily enhanced.
Well, Chris, I will quote one of your Atlanta neighbors, T.I., when I say, let them know.
Let them know. I can't believe you dropped a TI reference. That just brought it all back. Speaking of bringing it all back, folks, that's it for this episode of. This has been just a robust, value-packed episode of Marketing Machines and Mischief. And if you made it this far, thank you. And, why not just go down and click that like button, click that subscribe button. We do this every single week, and we love doing it and love delivering the information. Let us know what your favorite campaigns and worst campaigns. Who did we miss on both of the best and the worst? And in the comments below. But as always, before we go, we have a
little lesson learned. I got to take it back from FIFA. Thank you for the hydration breaks. See you next week.
Bye.